What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 50 on my road to 700 pounds on bench. I am 2 weeks out from Boss of Bosses 6, and I am feeling amazing. So obviously you saw the thumbnail. Huge week on deadlift, huge week on bench. We did rest squat this week just to let everything marinate a little bit. We had 2 great squat weeks. Took this week, kind of backed it off a little bit. And we're going to ramp up squats next week. We're alternating at this point. This week is the last heavy deadlift week. So we're going to rest and kind of coast into the meet with that nice gym PR. Very, very excited. Body weight sitting around 299, 300, which is pretty good for me. Not looking to gain any kind of weight or really, I'm just looking to maintain going into the meet. Feel really good. So basically this week, the agenda was to go 600 for 2 on squat and go 645 for 1 pause rep on bench, and 780 was the number to go for on deadlift, and we went ahead and did kilo plates and made it 782.6, I believe. So very, very excited about that going in. Last year, Boss of Bosses, my best gym lift ever was 745. And I went ahead and did 771 at Boss of Bosses to lock out that 2100 total. So I'm pretty stoked about getting within 30 pounds or so of what the elusive 800 pound deadlift is. But like I said, there's really no numbers that I have in mind for the meet. Honestly, I'm just going in to have fun, just to see kind of what we can do. Definitely wanting to push up those bench numbers. We're going to see bench getting ramped up this next week for the final bench press day. Just going into the meet, feeling really, really good. Just kind of keep everything healthy, making sure I'm getting my rest and recovery, which is very, very critical. But let's go ahead and jump into this week's week 50 recap. So day 1, I did my heavy bench. And actually this is going to switch around next week. We're going to do heavy squat first because it is considerably heavier than the bench day. And takes a lot more out of me. One of my last single warm-ups here with 495 over at Dubs Barbell Club. Justin Dubs here, give me a good lift off. Feel very, very confident. That moved really, really fast, which is exactly what we want. Opting to go here, 585. If you noticed last week, I did 565 or 560. It's kind of a middle ground. Just wasn't clicking. Didn't feel 100% last week for some reason. Obviously, I'm excited about that. And I went ahead and just said, you know what, let's go ahead and go 645 and knock this out. You guys wonder what I listen to when I work out? Well, anything and everything. I like a lot of different music. This particular day was listening to a lot of Phil Collins from the album No Jacket Required, some of my old school favorites. And it's not too hard and heavy. Sometimes I like that. I like to just kind of be calm with my lifts. And here we go. Smooth transition, locked it out, feeling really, 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 really good. Needed that lift. Obviously, we're getting heavier and heavier. That was 15 pounds more than last week, and 630 was obviously didn't move this quick. So really, really excited. So I've got a static hold next on the agenda here, and this is 710 pounds. Showing you guys around the gym here. Dubs Barbell Club in Spring, Texas. Really, really gracious workout host. Justin Dubs here, the owner, and his wife, Catherine. They've been longtime friends and training partner. Got a guest in the gym today, as you can tell. That was, if you're watching last week's recap, I think that guy's my good luck charm now. Got a little blue fan there blowing on me. It's a hot day in Houston. Our average weather the last few days has been upper 90s very easily. The humidity brings it into the 100, feeling like it's 110. So definitely down in water galore. All right, so we got a 5-second static hold here. This is just to get used to the weight. so that when we have this in an actual competition, it is not going to be a shock to the central nervous system. Felt really, really good. Moving on to some speed bench here. Working on getting a very fast, explosive rep. This is 530 pounds. Feels really, really good, really, really fast. Working sets of doubles there. Now, many of you have probably noticed, if you haven't already, then here we go. My grip is now just a little bit closer. Now, here's my theory on this, and I'm pretty confident that this is the reason. So I went wide grip last season, and when we got to the heavier weights, I wanted to move in, but I didn't. It's kind of an instinct of mine to move in. So I went ahead and kept it a little bit wider, and I was not able to get that lockout transition. That is my strength in bench press. It always has been. My triceps have been kind of my secret weapon. I mean, I can lock out damn near 900 pounds, but last training cycle, when I would drive off my chest and get right up into the tricep transition, it would drift back on me. And so this training cycle, I went ahead and made a choice back on a couple weeks back with 630 to go ahead, instead of doing a 23-inch grip and definitely not going as close as my 19-inch grip that I used to have when I did my 672 in competition, I'm going about 21 inches now. So it's kind of cutting that right in half. And I have had tremendous success with that in the last couple weeks. I feel really good with it. The reason why I think it's working so well is that I took a whole training cycle to get a bigger back, to work on that explosiveness off the chest. And now that I've got that explosiveness that I was not able to build when I was super close for so long, I've now been able to transition into my close grip, which is definitely stronger into lockout. And now I've got the best of both worlds. So we're going to see what happens in the meet here. All right, so I finished out that day one with some chain bench press. That was basically to work on some sticking points and drive right through those. So as we get more weight this next week, it will feel a lot better. Day two here, I wanted to show you guys, I've gotten some requests for how I warm up with squat day. And this is actually something, there's a few changes. Obviously, I don't do banded knee pull aparts or anything like that, but I do this same warm up on every single day, except maybe my shoulder day. So I do this 3 times a week. I do it for my deadlift, my squat day, and my bench day. This is just to loosen up my legs, my IT bands, my back, but definitely on squat day, I want to open up everything, loosen it all up. This is before I even get under the bar. This exercise here, this stretch here, I do at home quite a bit. I just pop out that PVC pipe there in the middle of the living room, and I stretch out my back. It decompresses the spine. It's a good, that hard PVC pipe really doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't bend on you. So it allows you to really dig into some soreness areas and kind of work some tension out. I like to do some walking lunges, just kind of open those hips up a little bit to the side. I normally, 8 and 8 is probably good for me. I don't really work on fatiguing myself. The point of warm up is to get warm, not to tire yourself out. So you want to do as very little as you can, but still do just enough to warm up. And that is the key to any warm up. See a lot of guys doing hundreds of reps, and that's not the way to go. Really working on getting a good stretch and opening up those hips, opening up those glutes areas, and just kind of getting everything open. And then, and only then, I start to get into the rack. Definitely do some leg swings here just to open up the hips a little more, loosen up the lower back, which is crucial. You want to be ready before you get under the bar. I see a lot of guys just go in and start squatting right away or start lifting literally right away, and that is not a smart move. Get some air squats here, just kind of making sure everything is firing, feeling good. I use a baseball here, or a lacrosse ball, and I roll out the feet. There's some tension spots that you can kind of work into. It really helps you to get the hypersensitivity in your feet. I have flat feet. I don't know if that really matters or not, but I like to be able to kind of heighten the senses of my feet, because then I really can get a better balance with the squat. There's obviously some pressure points on the bottom of your feet that can lead to certain areas of the body that can loosen them up, kind of awaken things. And so that's just something that I like to incorporate there. Helps with cramps too. If you're prone to getting cramps on the bottom of your feet, roll them out. Got my knee sleeves on, keep the joints warm. And I start here with the bar. I always, always, always start with the bar. Yes, it feels like absolutely nothing, but I'm trying to get in the zone, trying to get everything moving. Now, I did go through 220 or one plate and two plates, but I didn't film those. Just wanted to start here, 315. Well, actually, technically that's 325 with the squat bar. Working on really, really exploding. I want my warm-ups to look and feel just like my main set. Working up here, this is going to be the top set for the day. This is my light squat week. Obviously, we went super heavy last week. We're going to go 600 for 2 and then go straight into our deadlift day. If you guys want to replay this part, a lot of you guys ask how I wrap my wrist for a squat day. That's how I wrap my wrist. Not super, super tight. Just trying to get my wrists to be stable so that when I'm getting under the bar there, they're bent back slightly. It gives me a little bit of support, keeps the wrist from hurting. Of course, I am thinking, I want that to translate to a healthy bench. So I don't want to be hurting myself on another lift for the sake, of having myself be able to do one lift and not be able to do another lift due to injury. So this is top set here, 600 for a quick double. This is working out really well because I am actually feel really, really strong, but obviously doing squats last week, my hips are still tight. Definitely don't want to overdo it. But that was it for squats. That was kind of used as a warm-up for my deadlift. Going to be using kilo plates today. Top set is going to be a gym PR by, well, let's see, 765 to 782.6. So that's a considerable gym PR, and we still have some more in the tank. Notice how every time I approach the bar, regardless of the weight, it is always go time. It's always business. There's no lackadaisy, hanging out, chilling. I take the same breath. I gear up the same way. I treat it the same way. It's the iron. I want to respect it, but also I'm building up a habit. Good habits is what you need, because when you get into the grind of a super heavy lift or a meet day situation, you're on autopilot, and that's the way you want to be, because then everything else falls into place. You're not having to worry about the little things. The little things are going to happen because it's second nature to you. Working up here, 705. Last heavy warm-up. I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't nervous when I get under this kind of weight, because this is just, it's heavy. It doesn't matter how big you are. 700 to 700. Lean forward a little bit, got on my heels, but I cannot tell in the lift there that it slowed down at all. It felt really, really fast. It looked really, really fast. It felt a little bit slower than that, but I'm really happy with it. Got 782.6 on the bar here. Kilo plates. The reason I want to do kilo plates is not only because they're going to be in the meat, but they do, it's the actual weight. I'm not worried about standard plates being a little bit off. It's definitely going to flex the bar a little bit different because the plates aren't so far out. So the bar is going to leave the ground at the exact time that it will at the meet, because we're still going to be using the Texas deadlift bar. So definitely want to make sure that everything is as close to the meet as I can possibly get it. Here we go. Get tight, pulling the bar in, over mid-foot. Taking a good breath, bracing internally, and absolutely drive through the whole lift. I felt my hips pop a little bit, nothing crazy, but definitely just the fact that that was a max lift. And I definitely think I have more in the tank. Give myself a couple weeks and a good peak. I think we're looking at definitely over 800 at the meet. So I wanted to end out the day here with just kind of fighting that sticking point. This is a way to do it with some isometric pulls. set up in a squat rack and put the pin right where your kind of sticking point is, or just below it. And you want to give about a 6 to 10 second, as hard as you possibly can, pull. Make sure it's bolted down, it's not going anywhere, but you want to try to rip it out of the ground. And that's the whole point. You give it 100% force for about 6 seconds. You will feel it. Went ahead and wanted to work on just above the shin area here. I've got a slight sticking point. I also want to work on sitting back a little bit and leaning back with the weight and letting the weight kind of lever my body leverage to pull it up. So I went ahead and just did one more here, about 6 more seconds. Get it right in the position I need it. Lock it in, and 100% force, trying to break the squat rack out of the ground. And so probably put about 850 to 900 pounds of force, if I had to just guess. By doing that, I'm forcing my body to feel what that type of force feels like, so that when I am under the bar and I have a lot of weight on there, it's going to definitely feel a lot easier. It's going to move past those points. Day 3, my upper accessories and shoulders. I am feeling really good day 3 this week. Normally I'm feeling a little bit banged up. This was just kind of a I don't want to say an off week where it was a fluke that I felt good. I think we're just being able to rest and recover properly and getting the stress under control in life, just outside gym type distractions, and really just gearing up mentally for the meet. And that is really critical at this point. Back feels really good. Did the full stack there. Didn't even hardly feel it. No reason to max it out, you know, do something crazy, 300-pound pull downs or anything like that. I'm definitely wanting to still treat this as an accessory day. I'm not maxing out anything. We are decreasing the volume. That's why you don't see me doing a lot of extra stuff. We're definitely backing off some of the less important accessories, at least at this point in time. The ones that are definitely super high reps or a lot of volume or super heavy dips kind of have been backed out a little bit just to rest up and save energy for the main lift themselves. Some throat pulls here, 60 pounds. Feeling really good. You know, I'm not really one, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't care how I look, but I'm not a bodybuilder, so I really don't care about sculpting my body as much, or how big this is or how big that is. Really, I just want to make sure that I look good and feel good in the mirror. One way is, you know, if I have visible abs, it typically tells me that I'm in decent shape. And as a power lifter, especially the 308 power lifter, that's kind of not a normal thing. So, you know, I definitely take pride in that. You know, sitting around 299 body weight. I don't know what my body fat is. I'm not really concerned with that. You know, obviously I'm concerned with strength. But, you know, I'm looking in the mirror now. I'm seeing myself kind of changing composition a little bit, leaning out, but I'm feeling stronger than ever. So definitely happy with that. These are the straight arm straight arm fully extended dumbbell pullovers. Really good for extending your rib cage, expanding your rib cage. It's a mobility exercise. Really stretches that lower pec, opens the shoulders up a little bit. Really just a preventative exercise as well. Just keeps everything healthy. A couple sets of this at the end of the week always helped kind of stretch me out. Slow and steady. That set felt really good. I did throw in some bicep curls here. We've been hitting the triceps pretty freaking heavy. I like to keep a good balance. You know, I don't want to have any type of bicep weakness. Obviously I hit biceps with any type of rows that I'm doing, but this is a direct bicep exercise. Just went ahead and hit these real quick before hitting some heavy tricep rope. And this really helps me to really just counterbalance. You know, if my tricep is really sore, my biceps not, I can get cramps. It'll pull one towards the other, but if they're both sore, they typically stay a little bit neutral. So last thing for the day here is the tricep rope. Full stack here, 200 pounds. Just kind of warming up. Now I do lighter sets before this, so I don't want you guys to think that I start warming up with the whole stack. I definitely go through like 100 and like 150 and then 200. So this is 245 pounds. You guys saw me do this last week. Triceps have grown considerably, not only with size, but definitely strength. Since we are doing closer grip, I definitely want to make sure those triceps are going to be ready for the challenge. So that stack only goes to 200, so I had to kind of improvise today. I do trust that that cable is rated well over 300 pounds. I would be really surprised if it wasn't. It's probably not necessarily meant to hold 300 pounds, but for a short set here, I think we're good. A quick set here, 300 pounds. But that's it for the weekly recap. As always, appreciate you guys checking it out, following along. I do have some Q&A for this week. A couple guys, one from Instagram and one from YouTube. So go ahead and jump right into those. I got Jacob T. Works from YouTube. And he says, what is the optimum torso position in dips? I always get pain in my sternum. So here's the thing. Dips are in almost every exercise, there's little bitty changes that each person may need to adjust for due to equipment, due to your body, due to injuries that you may have had, leverages that you personally have. But as an overall general advice for, like, say, weighted dips, or even just dips in general, because you're going to want to have the same positioning with weighted dips as you will for dips. But you want to focus on really just the cue would be bending your elbow. So your body being maybe a 45-degree angle or slightly higher than that, you're really not working on dropping your head down or trying to go as far down as possible or trying to stay as upright as possible. You want to be a slight lean, but depending on where your shoulders are in relation to the bar. So some of the bars that are really, really skinny, your shoulders are going to be a little bit impinged. So you may have to be a little more upright just to kind of get away and open up the shoulders a little bit. Some of the bars that are a little bit wider or maybe at a V can allow you to kind of flare your elbows out, and it allows you to really open up your shoulders and your chest. But the key here with weighted dips, or dips in general, is you want to feel it mostly in your triceps. You're definitely going to feel it, a good portion of it, in your pecs, stretching. You don't want to feel it in your neck or in your back, or really, really like close into your rib cage right here. If you do, you're probably either off balance, you're not quite doing it right, or you've got a weakness somewhere and you're compensating. Because let's say, for example, you mentioned, Jacob, you mentioned your sternum hurting. So you may have a weakness in your shoulders, or maybe right in here, that's not allowing you to have the weight being held by your shoulders, your triceps. And so therefore your rib cage is kind of opening and it's forcing all of your weight down right here. Now, it could be that you need to do some like rib cage mobility exercises, kind of expand your rib cage, and maybe that area is just really sore because it's not used to being opened up like that and being able to put all your body weight necessarily, or even weighted dips, kind of concentrated on this area. It's a little too much. So there's a couple things. One is you can do like some assisted dips, where you kind of have a weight that's counteracting your weight. So you can, it's like a pin loaded machine. Not every gym has them. I don't see them a lot, but sometimes you see them where for like pull-ups, and you see it where you can put your knees on it and you can do dips, and where it takes away a little bit of your body weight. Do that until you're able to build up a tolerance, obviously building up your strength until you can do a body weight dip. The other thing is, you might just need to work on opening up your rib cage and your sternum and just kind of expanding all of this. One definite good exercise is if you go back a couple minutes to the training video on day 3, I've got those straight arm, fully extended dumbbell pullovers. That is a good rib cage expansion exercise. I wouldn't go super heavy. Obviously, anything that you're trying new, you want to start light, so maybe even 10 pounds and just kind of work up 5 pounds each week until you build a tolerance for, 2 sets of 10, something like that. Just one thing to take a look at. That is pretty much the best thing I would think of as far as getting your rib cage or kind of able to handle that type of tolerate that exercise. As far as the positioning on dips, though, you definitely don't want to feel pain. There's a difference between pain and being impinged in your shoulders. I see a lot of people that when they're doing their dips, they go really, really far, and it's really hard for me to even do that because my shoulder gets caught. But you don't want your elbow going up higher than your head. You don't want your head dropping down below your elbow. You want to basically be your triceps being right at parallel or just above parallel to the floor. If you're doing weighted dips, a little bit of advice is you don't want that weight swinging below you because it's going to throw you off and it's going to start hurting some of the lateral movement. You don't want a lot of that, so you definitely want it to just be up and down. One thing that I do, if you check out some of the weighted dip videos that I do, is I hold the weight in place with my legs or my feet. And I don't make it a big deal. I just kind of put them on the sides and kind of hold on to the weight just a little bit so it's not swinging back and forth, because that can really throw you off. But that's about it I have for that question. Next one I have is from Tahoe Redson from Instagram, and asks, does daily push-ups take away from pressing strength? So here's a couple things. My immediate answer would be yes, it will. Not detrimental, depending on how much you weigh and things like that. But a lot of guys, let's say, for example, that work on their feet all day long, they're outside, they're in the heat, there's going to be obviously an advantage to being not out in the heat, not walking around all day long or using your legs and doing it like, say, a squat exercise. So if you're always walking around for your job, for just in life, and you go and do a squat day, you're going to be at a slight disadvantage because you haven't been resting your legs. Now, is it detrimental? Person by person, case by case. I know that if I've had a very long weekend, let's say, and I've been on my feet and my back's hurting and I'm kind of fatigued from being up and being very, very active, I'm going to go into my workout less ready than if I was just kind of hanging out, sitting, lounging on the couch all weekend. Now, there is a fine, happy medium. Obviously, if you're sitting around for too much, you might get too lazy and you're not really ready to go. But in terms of being able to do push-ups every single day, I think it really just depends on how many you're talking about doing, how much your body weight is, what your tolerance is. I mean, if you're a guy who's just fresh out of the military and you can do 100 push-ups body weight a day and you only weigh 165 pounds, you're probably not going to be as affected going into your bench day doing 185-pound bench or whatever as somebody like myself weighing 300 pounds. If I did 20 push-ups a day, it may not bother me detrimentally, but if I didn't do them, I might feel that much more rested. So there's really not an easy answer for that. It really just depends on what you're talking about when you say daily push-ups. But that goes with anything. If you are the type of person who is always active, always picking things up, moving it around, you're going to be a little more tolerant to your body. Your body's going to be a little more tolerant to the activities that you're doing. Now, if you're not used to it and you start doing it all of a sudden, I think definitely it's going to hurt you in the short term because you're not used to that type of weight. But it's case by case basis. But that's it for this week's questions. As always, I appreciate you guys for submitting those. I do take those from the YouTube comments, from direct messages through Instagram, through commenting on various social media, email. You can definitely email me, swimhack@gmail.com. Try to just inform you guys of things that are going on, obviously in my training, but as well as kind of how I'm thinking as far as the questions are concerned or what they might pertain to as far as my training or your training. But I do have an update. I brought to you guys last week that I had tried out HERBSTRONG. So it's been about 5 days since I had a HERBSTRONG. Since I had my last couple of drops of it, I ran out of the smaller one. They gave me the 1,000 milligram one, and I did that for about a week and a half, right at 2 weeks. And I felt a huge difference in the way I was sleeping and recovering, which is enormous for me, as you guys know. It did take about 6 days or so for them to get me another order out. So I did go about 6 days without any type of the hemp oil. And I did notice a difference. And I thought it was a placebo, you know, of course, and that's why I told you guys I would come back this week and let you guys know. So basically all last week, since the last video, I didn't do any of the drops at all. I didn't have any. I did get an order in on like 3 days ago. And for the last few nights, I've been able to take the actual recommended dose, which is, I believe, like 30 milligrams with this one. And I have been sleeping absolutely sound, which is critical to my training. I sleep pretty good as it is, but there's definitely a noticeable difference of not getting up or not waking up to sounds or just things that are going on, you know. And sometimes, you know, it could be my shoulders are fine, but sometimes I get little aches and pains from workouts or whatever. And the other night, my shoulder kind of woke me up and I had to get comfortable again and go back to sleep. Well, if you do that throughout the night, you're not getting that sound 100% sleep. And I think the key to getting sound sleep, or what to recognize that you're getting sound sleep, is to be able to say that when you went to sleep, you don't remember anything until waking up. If you can do that, you had a pretty darn good sleep. The last, you know, probably 5 nights before that, I remember getting up, you know, and waking up, not necessarily getting out of bed, but waking up, having to shift around or switch the pillows around, try to get comfortable. And I didn't feel like I was getting as much sound sleep as I could. Obviously, I had good workouts. I think I was still getting plenty recovered, but anything I can do to give me just that edge, I'm definitely going to take advantage of. So I think at this point, I'm sold on HERBSTRONG. It's hard to say that because I'm a skeptic. I'm not one to just go off of you know, the witch oil, different snake oils and things like that. I'm one to just a realist, and I don't like businesses that, you know, throw out fake stuff or just, you know, have a bunch of athletes say that it works and it really doesn't work. I see that a lot. My honest opinion was, I thought that, you know, being naive, I didn't know. I kind of thought that that's what HERBSTRONG was all about at first, but after using it and seeing it, I could care less what the other athletes are doing or what, you know, what's going on with them. What I know is that with my training, it's actually helping. So I'm going to continue to use this throughout the meet prep. I'm going to use it the night before the meet to get a good night's rest. I'm going to use it, you know, after the meet. And I'll keep you guys updated and let you know how everything's going. But as of now, I'm sold on it. I like what they're doing. I'm still doing my research on the actual the company and what they're all about, how they're doing business with other people and things like that, just because I'm curious. But if you guys are interested in getting some, I think a couple people did last week. I'll obviously drop a link below. I think I got a promo code that you guys can use as well. I'll put that down there in the description. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this week's recap video. Next week is going to be pretty short. I've got a 750-pound squat on the agenda, and I've got a 661-pound bench. So we're going to do those in kilos. So whatever that 750 squat is, round it up, and then obviously 661 be a 300-kilo bench, and then we'll be done for the meet. It's like 10 days out or something like that at that point. So very, very excited. I haven't told you guys this in a while, but if you guys are interested in picking up a bench press t-shirt or supporting me with my bench press programs, head on over to benchonly.com. I've got everything over there. Occasionally I'll have some coaching spots that open up. So if you guys are interested in maybe some custom coaching, I definitely provide that. Just hit me up. We'll talk and see if something's available. If not, I'll let you know maybe when there might be something available. But if you're serious about your training and you want to take it to the next level, I'd be glad to discuss the options with you. Definitely check me out on Instagram. Over there, I do a lot of DMs, a lot of live videos, just daily updates about what I'm eating, where I'm going, kind of what's going on in my life. So if you guys are interested in kind of following along on that side, definitely do that. I appreciate it. Definitely like and subscribe. This video, this channel, more to come. I don't know what's after Boss of Bosses, but I know I've always got something exciting up my sleeve. So we'll take one thing at a time and enjoy the day. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys next week on week 51. We'll be 1 week out from Boss of Bosses. 6 in Mountain View, California. See you.